Hey, Lethal Lolo, come back down to earth here, and my father's dead. So what good way to cope with that trauma by making a YouTube video called Famous People Who Were Bad Fathers.
Wow.
Not saying that he wasn't a good dad. That's not, he was a good dad for the 2 years that I knew him. Let's get into it. We're starting the list off with the banger. We got Playboi Carti coming in as a bad father. Who would have thought? Now we all remember the complete disaster that was the relationship of Iggy Azalea and Playboi Carti, where she was basically using Twitter as a therapist, just unloading all of her trauma onto us. Now Iggy Azalea's biggest mistake was assuming this, goddamn, was gonna be a good father. I think everybody and their mother could have said that the 23-year-old rager rapper who got famous at an early age and didn't really experience the normal development of a regular citizen was gonna be a terrible and dysfunctional human being. Who would have thought? Honestly, with Iggy Azalea being 6 years older, I kind of put the blame on her, to be honest. Your brain's already fully developed. How did you not make that assumption? Apparently he was smoking big ass fat fucking doobies with Lil Uzi Vert playing PS5 while his son was being birthed.
Oh, my friends are dead.
Oh, green light.
Push me
Green
to
light.
the
3 points.
edge.
3
No,
points.
no, no,
Get
fuck
off
this
my
shit.
ass, brother.
No, man.
Get off my
nah,
ass, brother.
Warriors are a cheating ass team, bro.
Man, the Warriors ain't even the
Bro,
cheating
what
team,
is,
bro.
bro, the Warriors have literally everybody.
Hold up. Somebody's calling.
God damn.
Fucking bitch again.
Oh, is that
Fuck.
bitch again? Man, bro, just hang
Always
up
call
on
me,
him, bro.
bro, when I'm fucking busy, bro.
Tell her we're making music.
What's up? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Fuck, bro. I was on my dick, bro.
Bro, is that a hop out? Unless she a fan
Hey,
for real.
Oh, nah, that's bullshit. Nah, that's 3
points.
points. Excited, bro.
Check my, come on, bro.
He also recently sparked controversy with beating and choking his ex-girlfriend after finding out she was pregnant. Let me preface this. He found out his girlfriend was pregnant, beat her ass, choked her, she ran away, and then he beat her ass again. You know how much you have to hate babies to do that? Now what can we learn from the situation? Number 1, Playboi Carti apparently hates babies. Number 2, he's a bad father. Number 3, he's a terrible person. Number 4, he's a Satan worshiper. And number 5, he has a big ass forehead. Let's be real. John Lennon, we all know him for his amazing and groovy tunes. A member of the Beatles that will live on as a legend forever. But did you know that he was a bad dad? Well, partially, because John Lennon had 2 sons, and while one was getting the utmost unconditional love a son could ask for, the other one was looking through a forgotten window of his dad's regretful marriage, peeking through with longful eyes, watching in the rain while his brother was living the life that he wished he had. Now, John Lennon did come up with some great hits like Working Class Hero, Jealous Guy, and Imagine. Kind of like how his son had to imagine having a dad that actually loved him. Now, John was such a bad father to his son Julian Lennon that he excluded him from his will. You know how much you have to not give a fuck about somebody, especially your blood, that is your son, to exclude him from your inheritance? My man was having beef with the 7-year-old. Now, not only did John Lennon openly admit to not being active in young Julian's life, but he also said that he was a drunken mistake. That shouldn't have happened. Now, imagine your parents get a divorce. Now your dad is dating this woman who likes screaming into microphones. And now he's not even active in your life anymore. And then to later find out that he called you a mistake. I don't know, maybe some things shouldn't be said out loud. Now, a cool fact that came from this disaster, though, was that Paul McCartney, who was relatively close to Julian, sympathized with him heavily through his parents' divorce, and even wrote possibly one of the best songs in the Beatles' discography, or of all time even, Hey Jude. Hey Jude. On top of this, Julian sued John Lennon's estate for $20 million, and that's cool. I mean, it really doesn't make up for the fatherless upbringing and learning that you were a mistake in your father's eyes. Anyways, the next man must have a really good fucking PR team, because a lot of the commotion that he has caused with his ex-wife and his children have just been swept under the rug. I'm talking about Mr. Heartthrob, Mr. Chiseled Jawline, etched in by the Greek gods themselves. Tyler, there's only one rule in Fight Club, and that's to not talk about Fight Club Durden Brad fucking Pitt. And this one might be a shocker for a lot of people, even though he is in my thumbnail. Because for a lot of us, we assume that when we see an attractive person that they just can't do no fucking harm. Because for a lot of us, when we see an attractive person, we automatically assume that they're a good person. Like, this dude has a six-pack, he can't be a bad dad. Ain't no fucking way. He was in Inglourious Basterds. This guy's a good guy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's where you're wrong, because he's actually a piece of shit, at least when it comes to being a good husband and a good father. Because if you didn't know, Angelina Jolie has accused Brad Pitt of being very abusive to her and their children on a 2016 plane trip from France to Los Angeles, where he claims he was upset at her for selling their stakes of a French winery that they both acquired together, while she disputes this and blames him for ending negotiations over purchasing her share of the property. Now on the plane, he took her to a small bathroom where they started yelling at each other, and he started fist pumping the ceiling, taking us back to the 2009 Jersey Shore days. Then out of nowhere started choking her ass with his big man strength and shaking her like a protein shake, and then before finally pushing her like Doctor Strange did to Spider-Man, where his physical body left his ethereal being. Now when they got out of the bathroom, one of the kids started talking his shit, you know? In which what I could assume he said was, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wasn't even that good of a movie. It was too slow paced. Where Brad Pitt took that deeply and, retaliated in a violent rage by plunging at him like a spider monkey, causing an uproar with all of his children and Angelina attempting to help one another, while Brad Pitt was just smacking them. Back after back, they're all coming at different angles. He's just bobbing and weaving, smacking and striking, all whilst the pilot is like, God damn, there ain't no turbulence around here. Why is the plane shaking? After this debacle and things had finally settled down, Angelina and the children were terrified in the corner under a blanket, while Brad Pitt periodically came in and just started pouring wine and alcohol on them like he was pouring one out for the dead homies. Now once again, this is all allegedly. Don't kill the messenger. The case is still ongoing, but based off Maddox Jolie Pitt's Instagram post, his son, this might be a little bit more factual than what it seems, where he says, "Happy Father's Day to the world-class asshole." Wow, so heartfelt. Time and time again, prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have no consideration or empathy towards your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear in your presence. You would never understand the damage you have done to my family because you are incapable of doing so. Once again, I feel like this man has the best PR team because nobody is discussing this. Like, the information is out there, yet nobody cares. He's still being seen in this very positive light. Is it because he's Brad Pitt, A-list actor who has been romanticized and glorified since the 90s? We seem to assume people are good people just based off our own perceptions of them and their status and accolades. And there have been speculations that the reason Brad Pitt is coming off a lot more fashionable, wearing a much more cozier aesthetic and a much more colorful palette, is to kind of manipulate the masses into believing that he's a relatable and genuine person. Like, this guy, he wouldn't hurt a fly. Come on now. He's 59. Now, remember during the Golden Globes where literally everybody was shouting him out?
Hey, Brad Pitt.
Brad, I love you.
Sorry about this. I think they got my name wrong. Yeah, it's Mrs. Pitt.
Like, why would they do that? Like, I understand maybe one person, but for there to be a multitude of people doing that, once again, a lot of people are speculating that these people were paid off and that he has a really good fucking PR team. And it sucks because I truly do feel like he should be held accountable for his actions, no matter how good Inglourious Basterd was. You know, it doesn't matter that he's aging like fine wine. It doesn't matter because he's an asshole. Anyways, I'm off to another dimension. See ya.